FC St. Pauli has never been a successful football club, at least when speaking of top-flight silverware. But if there's one club whose fans are guaranteed to enjoy this upcoming season, win or lose, it's St. Pauli's. They also will grab the attention of football fans like few Bundesliga clubs can, and that's not necessarily down to their football. St. Pauli have only played 8 seasons of top-flight football since the Bundesliga began in the early 60s, but for them, it's more than just the football, right? It's a meeting of culture, morals, political identity, football fandom, and in general, partying and having a good time while watching your side play. All of these things come before success on the pitch, because what does their success mean if it comes at the cost of their morals? Well, thanks to a fantastic Bundesliga 2 campaign last term, they found success in a Bundesliga promotion, playing top-flight football for the first time since 2011. And so, the team that claims to have the highest female representation in their fan base, that is vehemently anti-fascist, anti-racist, and anti-homophobic, and has even allowed refugees to sleep on their stadium pitch at times, is back and ready to compete in their own unique way. So let's take a quick look at what makes this club so unique. I won't focus too much on the events of last season, as the overall story of this club is by far the most interesting aspect at play here going into the season. Cool? Let's go. Although St. Pauli was founded in 1910, officially at least, we're going to jump ahead quite a bit as the club evolved into what it is today around the 70s and 80s. They're based in the St. Pauli region of Hamburg, the port city of Germany. This area was typically known as the working class or underprivileged part of Hamburg, close to the Reeperbahn, an entertainment district with plenty of clubs and places to party, as well as Hamburg's red light district. For this reason, the people who make up St. Pauli's fan base often have a more liberal-leaning political outlook. For example, St. Pauli made German football history when they signed Togolese attacking midfielder Guy Akoladze in 1963, making him the first ever black professional football player in Germany. That signing was in part a consequence of St. Pauli supporters often chanting anti-Nazi songs at their matches, as St. Pauli was and still is not a welcome place for any fascists. But they really began to lean into this identity, this left-wing identity, in the mid-80s. More on that in a second. St. Pauli were a club who on the sporting side couldn't find stability. They gained Bundesliga promotion for the first time ever in 1977, but were relegated immediately. In the 80s and 90s, they became a bit of an elevator club, gaining promotion, only to go down for a season, sometimes longer, sometimes suffering 2 relegations, but climbing the elevator back up to the Bundesliga once again. One of the reasons for this is down to financial issues that have burdened St. Pauli in the past few decades. There were even times, like in 2003, where supporters of the club actually put on a fundraiser, such as selling t-shirts or a friendly match against Bayern, in order to save the club by being able to purchase their operating license for the 3rd tier German football. That came after 2 relegations in a row from the Bundesliga to the Regional Liga Nord. They made it back to the Bundesliga in 2010, but went straight back down to the 2nd Bundesliga, where they remained until just this year. With Australian Jackson Irvine leading them as their club captain and 31-year-old coach Herzler at the helm last season, St. Pauli achieved promotion back to the Bundesliga on May 13th, 2024 with a 3-1 victory over Osnabrück. But to understand what makes this so cool, let's look back at their supporters and the club culture as promised. A 2015 Guardian article from Uli Hess, linked below with all of my sources, speaks of a sign outside of FC St. Pauli's museum, which reads, "We don't have silverware. Instead, we have something a lot better. We have a story to tell. The incredible story of how a community-based club from Hamburg becomes one of the most famous football teams in Europe, without big trophies, without big money." And they aren't wrong. St. Pauli had always been a left-leaning club. We mentioned the anti-fascist chants, as well as the fact that they signed the first ever black player in German professional football history. But in the mid-1980s, they really leaned into this identity of being politically left-leaning, and incredibly welcoming to any and all subcultures that didn't spread hate, misogyny, racism, homophobia, or recently transphobia, etc. This is representative of the St. Pauli area in general, as this is a Partymeilen or party zone, and it attracts these like-minded and tolerant people who want to have a good time and think it's everyone's right to have a good time together. As some publications have put it, St. Pauli supporters are left-wing, but subculturally diverse. Again, in the mid-1980s, a supporters group within the St. Pauli fan base, dubbed the Social Romantics, put St. Pauli in the driver's seat of the anti-fascist movement within Germany, making St. Pauli the first club in Germany to actually outright ban right-wing nationalist displays and activities within the stadium, according to St. Pauli's official history. The Skull and Crossbones also became associated with the club around this time, though there are differing opinions of when it officially happened. As the legend goes, a legendary supporter of St. Pauli named Doc Mabius was drunk and on his way to St. Pauli Stadium, the Millerntor. Along the way, he passed by a fair and nabbed a Jolly Roger or Skull and Crossbones flag to bring to the match. Now, it's been contested between Mabius and other St. Pauli historians just when this happened. Mabius says between 1981 and 83, while many others point to around 1987. But whatever it may have been, that original flag was lost, and a much bigger one was bought by Mabius and attached to a broomstick to continue to wave at each and every match, becoming synonymous with the club itself. In fact, a version of the Skull and Crossbones was purchased by the club in the 1990s, and while it may not be their official badge, it is part of their official branding. It is trademarked by them. To paint a further picture of the kinds of supporters that come from the St. Pauli neighborhood, Mabius was the singer of a local punk rock band and lived in a squatters commune with 40 other people. You can understand why St. Pauli became a safe haven for the downtrodden and later for refugees. In fact, the club even allowed refugees to sleep on the pitch of the Millerntor. Now, it probably won't surprise you to hear that St. Pauli are one of the clubs that stands fiercely in support of the 50+1 rule in German football. So much so that you should absolutely watch out for their matches against RB Leipzig during this upcoming season. In fact, Red Bull, the parent company to RB Leipzig, was actually considering St. Pauli to become one of their teams, according to German publication Kicker. Here's an excerpt from their article, linked below, by the way. The company made contact with Hamburg-based cult club FC St. Pauli, known for its left-leaning supporters, and met representatives of the club to discuss a sponsorship deal. A short time before, supporters of FC St. Pauli had participated in protests against Red Bull's takeover of SV Austria Salzburg. Once it became clear to the Hamburg side that the company had plans that went far beyond conventional sponsoring, it immediately ended the contact, and the question never even made it to the club management. So, how deep does this disdain for Red Bull and RB Leipzig go? Well, a couple of years ago, local Hamburg side FC Teutonia OF Ottensen, then in the 4th division of German football, had a home match against RB Leipzig coming up in the DFB Pokal. However, their home stadium only has unauthorized artificial turf, therefore the match could not be staged there. So they made a request to play at St. Pauli's Millerntor Stadium. You'd think that St. Pauli would be more than happy to help the 4th tier side out, but they denied the request. Why? As is well known, FC St. Pauli is extremely critical of RB's model, as in our opinion, it is not compatible with the 50+1 rule, which we are committed to. The RB model is also met with strong rejection by our fan scene and supporters. FC St. Pauli therefore does not want to give RB a stage beyond possible competitive matches, especially not at the Millerntor, which stands as a symbol of solidarity and fairer football. Speaking of fairer football, it also extends to the board level. St. Pauli were again pioneers when they became the first German professional football team to have its club members vote in favor of having a minimum of 30% female representation at the board and committee level within the club. Sandra Schwedler is the head of St. Pauli's supervisory board and has been in that role since 2014. She was the only female head of a board in German professional football until 2022, when Eintracht Braunschweig elected Nicole Kempis as their club president. Now, you may not agree with everything that St. Pauli does, but what I think you can agree on is that they are completely unique within the football world, the professional football world, where cash rules everything, where morals are oftentimes put aside in favor of a larger sponsorship deal or profiting due to the exploitation of their fan base. St. Pauli are a club of fighters, not always on the pitch, that's for sure, as their empty trophy cabinet would speak to, and they themselves will have pointed out. But they have fought hard against any kinds of prejudices that exist. They have fought for the rights of the underrepresented. They have fought against bankruptcy. And for the first time in 13 years, they will fight in the Bundesliga as well. So that's it from me, guys. Just a quick profile on what makes this club so interesting, as there is plenty more out there as well. And like I said at the beginning of the video, no matter how well they do this season, no matter if they pull out their old party trick of getting relegated immediately upon promotion, you know that their fans will be partying and enjoying their time at the Millerntor and in the Bundesliga, no matter what happens. Thanks again for watching one of my videos. I do appreciate it. I have more for you. They should appear on the screen after this, or you can subscribe and ensure you don't miss any more videos from us here at Rabona TV. My name's Adrian. Thank you for watching, and be well.